Hello, Aderinsola.
Hi, Shade.
Would you prefer I call you Aderinsola or Darren?
Anyone.
Okay. Hi, Darren.
Hi,
welcome
Shade.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Pleasure to be here. I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm good. I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy because a part of me is selfish because I think you're going to be helping me walk through some of my issues. So I'm looking forward to our conversation.
It's fine.
Now, before we start, I'm going to confess, and I think I've already mentioned that to you, that I'm a very fast talker.
Okay.
So during the course of our conversation, right, if I start speaking really fast, I want you to say, "Hi, Shade." And then I remember to slow down. Do you?
It's an interesting cue. Okay.
Just say, "Hi, Shade." Like, okay. All right, cool. Okay. So, besides the obvious information that we have about you online, which is that you are a diction and elocution coach, which we're going to get into soon. You are also a voiceover artist.
Yes, I am.
You are a digital and communication strategist.
Yes, I am.
And you're a banker. You work
Not professionally.
Not professionally?
Yeah, so I'm in the marketing and corporate communications department. Yeah, so
you work at a bank?
Yes,
Regardless.
I work in a bank.
Yes, but you're not a
I'm
banker.
Not exactly a banker.
Okay, so you work at a bank.
Yes.
Now, besides all that information, what were you like as a child, and what was it like growing up in your family?
So I'd say I wasn't one of those children who, when you ask them, "Oh, what do you want to be in future?" and they're like, "Today, I want to be a doctor." And then you ask them the next day, and they're, "I want to be a lawyer." Nah, I've always wanted to be a broadcaster. Now, this table actually reminds me of what I used to do as a child. So my dad used to buy newspapers every day until he passed. So you'd see that immediately I saw this book and I saw Bimbo Loide. I went, I know her.
Yeah.
Channels. I'm like, I don't know any broadcaster that I do not know. Like, I grew up watching TV, listening to the radio, and then I had newspapers. So what I used to do growing up as a child was, when I was the only one at home after school, I would just go to our dining table. At the time, there were no teleprompters. Do you understand? So I would, there's this woman on AIT News, Jire Kolakuforiji. So I watched her so much, like, I used to imitate her, so I would just get my newspapers. And because there were no teleprompters, I would get a plain sheet of paper, write out some stories from newspaper into the plain paper, look for a container on the, put it on the table, and get a screwdriver. That is my microphone.
Wow.
And then I'd be reading the news to myself. Like,
no, that's it.
I'll be, hi everyone, welcome to AIT News. My name is Jire Kolakuforiji.
Have you met her?
Yes, I interned. I interned with AIT at some point after NYC, and I was like, I really imitated.
Yeah, no, that's, I think that a lot of times when you hear people who have dreams and goals, I keep on saying that it starts from a young age, and even though you may maybe put it on the back burner for a while, those foundations, those experiences really, I don't know. Yeah, they really do. And then you look at, you're like, oh wow, I remember, like, look at you saying that you used to imitate her, right? And you actually got to work with her. So that's super awesome. What about your family? You come from a family of how many kids?
3 girls. I'm the first of 3 girls. Yes, my dad is late, and my mom is a nurse.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. So what were your parents like?
My parents, so my dad was the introvert. And so it was just a perfect blend. My mom, the extroverted person, the strict, no nonsense person. My dad was the liberal person. So that, there was this balance.
What about your siblings?
My siblings, they're good. They're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what led to your interest in diction and elocution? Because, like you said, you wanted to become a broadcaster, which hopefully, knock on wood, we'll see how that's going to help, And then when you become successful, you say, oh, I remember when I came on Shade's podcast.
Don't worry.
Exactly. So what led to your interest in diction and elocution?
Okay. So remember I mentioned, so it's going to be like a continuation of my growing up. I'd say, okay, so let me just chip in here that parents have, they might not know, most parents might not know, but they have about the strongest influence on their children. I just said that I grew up around newspapers. Like, till the my dad had an accident and passed, my dad actually went to get a newspaper.
Wow. That's, wow.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I grew up around newspapers and I would consume them. I was like, should I say, I recognized all of the writers, all of the Toyosi, Ogunseyes and co. Such that even, I remember there was this time, I hope I'm not digressing.
No, it's fine. No, I want to know this. That's why I'm asking you.
I remember there was this time. So coincidentally, I don't know whether to say it was a coincidence. I also work with the media team in the bank that I work with, media and external relations. Yeah. So there was a time where we had to interface with some of these media people, and I just went, oh my God, I know you. I used to read your story. I know you.
That's great.
I would mention their names. I said, okay, where is Toyosi? Oh, Toyosi, she's not with the BBC. Oh, this person. Oh, I know you. You're a photojournalist. Yes. Like, I read, oh, I know you. Kemi Ashafon. I used to read your story growing up. Oh, you have your own platform now. Like,
that's awesome.
And I'll just go.
So that interest in newspapers, before even getting to it, was that because you saw your dad reading that and your mom? Or that was just for whatever reason you just loved reading the newspapers?
I'd say because I was exposed to them at a young age.
So you'd see your parents reading the papers?
Yes. And watching TV, watching the news, analyzing the news. So my interest in diction and elocution, your question. So I observed, because I already picked an interest in broadcasting. If there was anything I observed with all of the people I watched and listened to, it was that they spoke well. They spoke like very well, without any funny accent, without trying to imitate anyone, there was no interference. There was no cultural interference. You couldn't tell whether the caster was a Yoruba or was from Akwa Ibom or any part of Nigeria. I really, really, really admired that. Yeah. And then I got to, there was something I used to do. So I had an exercise book where if I heard a different pronunciation from what I was used to, I'd write it down and check my dictionary and be, oh, it's not interesting like most people say. It's interesting. I'd hear baby Olaterolabegi say protein, and I'd be, it's not protein. Okay, let me check. And I'll check my dictionary. I heard, it's so funny that I know these people, I know who taught me what.
That's awesome.
Like, I know who taught me what. I'd listen to Bukola Sami with more of TVC, and I'd hear her say, special advisor to the president. Oh, advisor, president. It's not president, and it's not advisor. Okay? I'd write it down. Yeah. So basically, I wanted to be an excellent broadcaster.
In school, what was your favorite? One of your favorite classes? Was it oral English or literature and English?
So school, like university?
University, secondary school, primary school.
Okay, secondary school, of course, English language.
Okay.
I wasn't good with figures. Oh my God.
No, I just, one of the, it's fine. It's perfectly fine.
I could have an A, like even get a prize in English language and then have an E or an F in maths.
No, so I just feel like oral, as when I was preparing to interview you, whenever I'm preparing to interview guests, I just like always think about things that came back from maybe my past and when I was younger. Not saying I'm like super old, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I thought about oral English and how sometimes we blow that off when we're in secondary school. Like, this person is pronouncing, even like the word pronunciation. It's not pronunciation. And for it's, so I just think that oral English has a role to play in how...
It actually does. And it's just so funny because when we were in secondary school, it was like a part of English language where we just wanted to skip. Like we all just did ABC, number 1, A, number 2, B. Like we didn't really master those sounds. Even me. But the thing with me was I knew there was a goal. Broadcasting. Okay, so what could take me there? So that was the interest for me. And so when I got into Ife as well, phonetic and phonology was where I used to get my A's and all of that.
That's great.
It was like a natural area of ease for me.
And before we get into the core of our conversation, for people who are listening and who are watching, I think that's important to stress that the reason why I have you here is that for people in the media industry and entertainment, a lot of us are going to be speaking publicly and presenting your ideas, pitching your, what is this project about? What is this story about? Exactly. Services, and I'm sure you would agree that effective speaking and communication has a role to play in how successful you're going to.
Now more than ever.
Exactly, right? Especially with the whole Afrobeats to the world. People are getting more exposure internationally. So I'm really glad to have you here and I'm ready to dive into our conversation.
Yes.
So you are a diction and elocution coach.
Yes, I am.
What does that mean for someone who's listening or watching?
Okay, so my role, simply put, as a diction and elocution coach is to help you speak right. Speak right. Not speak with an accent. Speak right. Like there's a standard. My role is to help you speak very well. Speak right. Yes.
Okay.
Simply put.
And you're kind of moving ahead to one of my questions, but the whole accent thing. There's this, we have this thing whereby people think that having an accent means speaking right. What does it, before I go, what does it even mean to speak right in your own books as a diction and elocution coach?
Okay, so the standard for speaking right is the British English.
Who made the rule? Because we're colonized by the British?
In Nigeria,
no, I know.
We were colonized by the British, so we speak British English here. So let me also state that English language for us in Nigeria is our national language, because some people might just say, because I hear this a lot, who English app, like who can it put? Yes, of course, it can put food on your table. It can determine whether you get that job or you do not. True story. I have a friend who is also an elocution coach and communications trainer. I hope I can quickly
yes.
Okay, who's also a communications trainer and elocution coach. So what she does, she works with a tech company. Like, true story, I was there. She works with this tech company, and you know how it is when you are going to be recruited and the speaking test is the last stage, and her colleague was, this person can get in. This person cannot get in. He cannot read. I mean, this says strictly speaking. He's reading speaking strictly. What is it was, they kept having this back and forth with the HR guy, because apparently he knew his onions. He was good he passed everything techie in the interview stage, but when he got to the final stage, the speaking test.
Could it be that the person had dyslexia or has dyslexia?
It could be, but for the reason why, for the purpose of this conversation, the reason why her colleague was, this person cannot get in, was because at the end of the day, these people were supposed to vet those coming in. And these tech company communicates with, they have foreign clients that they communicate with. So those people get feedback from time to time that we cannot hear what it is your guys are saying. And also that's why my colleague my friend and her colleague take the pain to train these people. However, when they're coming in, they want to minimize like the stress and everything they have to go through when eventually they start to train.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, it's not important. English language is not my mother tongue. Oh, wow. That's another one that I hear very frequently. So people need to move from that mindset, because everything starts in the mind. If you do not think that it is important, when I was privy to that conversation, I could only imagine what would be going through in the mind of that guy if he got to hear that, you won't be getting this job just because it's not because I don't have the technical capabilities or capabilities. It's just because you cannot speak well.
Kind of goes back to one of the points that you made about children. When you're parents, like, you have the power to influence the lives of your children. Yes. And when you see your child struggling in a particular area, or maybe whether that's speaking or math, like you said, numbers, you get them the proper support,
guidance, everything.
But I think it's fair to acknowledge that everybody doesn't have access to these resources. But hopefully by the end of our conversation, people can know that they can contact you if they need help in these areas.
Yes.
Okay. Now, my second question is, a lot of times we hear comments of Nigerians jam our words together. We swallow our words. Can you speak about what that even means when you swallow your words or you jam your words together?
Okay, so there's something called enunciation, which simply means pronouncing every phoneme, like every sound in each word. So in this part of the world, we're guilty of literally throwing away the final sounds. Do you understand? So, and it doesn't make for effective communication. So, but it is something that can be worked on. You can become a deliberate speaker. So the same thing I tell my students when they come to class, it's a place you've come to learn. So you have to be open-minded. That's like the foundation that I lay in every class, every lecture. I want to rid them of whatever it is that they've believed, English language is difficult, or it's not my mother tongue, all of that. I want to so if you're open-minded, there is really nothing that you cannot learn or acquire. It's never too late to work on anything. You can take tongue twisters, you can read, get a book, read out loud. It really, really, really helps to improve speech defects.
Okay, so that wraps up our discussion on diction and elocution and how they impact or influence our ability to speak or communicate effectively.
Yeah.
Now let's go on to what's Nigerian. We talked about that Nigerian schools briefly, what Nigerian schools are doing or can do to ensure that they are preparing their students for the future in terms of specifically how to communicate effectively. Because a lot of times we hear nowadays that with schools, which goes back to one of your comments about the focus is now on everybody wants to have an accent. But the goal is not having an accent if you cannot communicate. So can you talk about what schools can do or what they're doing that you have heard or that you know? I don't know what secondary school you went to. Okay. Exactly. Talk about what schools can do to ensure that their students are being prepared appropriately for the future.
So I think that things have improved compared to when we were growing up. I just had an English teacher. I didn't have any teacher to particularly teach elocution or public speaking or anything. Growing up, I was extremely shy. No, shy is not the word. I was timid. Do you understand? But
why?
I do not know. I cannot even... Looking back, I cannot even say that, this was the reason. I'm an introvert, yes, but so I know that most of the people who have these issues are introverts. They have so much inside of them, but then they're so, they tend to keep to themselves and all. However, things have changed. things have really changed. So I'd say that a lot of school owners are putting a conscious effort into getting elocution coaches or teachers for their students because they can't see the importance. However, or in addition, I'd say that parents as well, because I've had parents reach out to me to say, "Oh, I'd love my children to take public speaking classes, not even just diction and elocution classes." Do you understand? So even parents are becoming more intentional. I did not have that. I did not have that. A lot of us didn't have that growing up. And generally, I'd say that yes, schools are becoming more, but I think it's more of the private schools.
Yeah, because you see the right?
Yeah.
Because you see the lack of resources with public schools, and you wonder how, because there's a huge gap, right? And I wonder how, hopefully, I'm putting that out there into the universe. Hopefully the Lagos State government can contact diction coaches like you and elocution coaches, and that can be schools,
so that they can. Is anything I say, the aim of our courses is to help people get their confidence back. It contributes, whether you like it or yes. Because, take for instance, you have a competition, say by the British Council, and you have this very bright student from a public school, and you also have another one from a private school and a Jeboga school.
Jeboga?
Yes. And a Jeboga school in court. And the child goes for the competition and hears the way the other contestant is speaking and is wondering, why do I not sound like this? Not basically sound, or why can't I speak like this? And is wondering. So even if the person is or even if he or she knows what he or she wants to say, looking at other students, he might just get destabilized and be, no, look at he might just take a look at himself and be, I don't think I'm good enough and all of that. So it actually contributes to the kind of individuals that we are raising in the society. So it's not government really needs to do more. They need to contribute. They need to put in more effort into making our educational system better. It's not magic that you have a school like Covenant University. You have a Covenant University and you hear that they have the most employable graduates in Africa. It's no joke. And that is just because of the investment. I studied English language and I never set eyes on what's it called? Language laboratory.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you understand? Yeah. So all of these things that I know, it's just because it is something that I am passionate about.
So you took you were intentional.
Exactly. Train myself. So, but generally speaking, I think our government is doing.
And for anyone who's listening or watching, I think that's important. A great example is this. Maybe you're from the hood or wherever it is, and you say, I want to blow. Now, you can blow in Nigeria, right? Getting away, and you can get away with speaking pidgin English in Nigeria. When you now start saying, let's not even go to...
You might not even get away with it in all the circles.
Right. But let's just assume that's the case.
Your audience will be limited.
Yes. But let's just say the person let's just say that in Nigeria, right? Okay, everybody understands pidgin English. You now go to Ghana. You go to Ghana, Kenya, and then you really want to become an international superstar. There are different platforms and mediums that are going to require you to come on their platforms and speak about your projects, your partnerships. They want to sign you as an ambassador. And if you cannot even, that's why I'm saying that pidgin English is good to have pidgin English because you're able to connect with your people. But if you want to become an international superstar, you need to have the skills to be able to communicate as an international superstar. Which is why I believe diction and elocution is so important because someone will say, waiting concern, like you said, who English help, right? Who help? It's true because people are successful without English language, but I think sometimes you can see how not
speaking, put your best foot forward.
Yeah, how not speaking properly can limit how well you're able to,
and your access to certain circles.
That access is so important. One other question I wanted to ask you is, are the problems that some of us have with speaking, are they connected to how we write, or how well we write, or how bad we write? Because you can make the argument that if you write properly in some way, shape, or form, that helps you become a better speaker. Would you agree or disagree that our writing has a role to play in our ability to communicate verbally?
So I believe that they are connected. They're very connected. So most of the time, we write the way we speak. So if you do not speak well, there's every probability that you would write, I was a girl, or I want to eat rice, something like that. Because that is how basically we think before we speak or even write. So it is, you cannot give what you don't have. Summary.
Yeah.
So they are connected.
Yeah, because I was also just thinking about it from a perspective of someone who has dyslexia. The people who have dyslexia and they speak so well, but their ability to read and write is they have a problem with that. So would you now say that person is not a great speaker? That person is a great speaker, but cannot cannot write. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's a medical problem, but I think I'm not speaking from the medical.
Yes, you're speaking generally.
Yes, generally. Yes.
Okay. What about books? Do you think that reading books helps us become better speakers? Because
I just mentioned newspapers.
Wait, hold on. Because before we came, when I was telling you that there are people who read and they read well, and when they are communicating with you, that's also baby grammar, then they blow. They cannot just communicate to you on a basic level that anybody can understand. So how can someone who says, I read lots of books, but when it comes to communicating your goals, your visions, your ideas,
the audience is lost.
Exactly.
So there's something called sociolinguistics in English language. And don't worry, it's not big grammar. Basically, social, environment, and language. So it's basically the connection between your environment and language. So I give an example when I was on this Instagram live with this communications and branding expert, Obafemi Williams. When you go to Oyingbo Market, for instance, and you go there and you say, "Good morning, ma'am. Could you please give me habanero pepper?" And man is habanero pepper. Joy, kuro waju mi. Teba mara nikera, teba mara ta nikera, teba nira joy kuro waju mi. Do you understand habanero pepper? You want to buy atarodo? But when you say atarodo, they understand it doesn't take anything away from you. You want to communicate. You need something. So it's just basically knowing your audience and knowing the language to speak per time. I cannot say that my pidgin is 100, but I can try maybe on a 50. So if I'm required to speak pidgin so that I can get what it is I want to get, I mean, it just makes sense that I speak pidgin. My Yoruba is just as good as, I'm just as proficient in English language as I am in Yoruba. So if I have to go to the market and speak Yoruba, just so that. So the point here is basically your audience communication. When you focus on your audience, not because you want them to think that
you're smart.
I'm a professor. I am this. I am that. Nah. It's you want to communicate. You want a connection to your audience. And maybe I should chip this in. I was taught in school that proficiency in your first language makes for proficiency or makes acquisition of a second or third language even easier, because there are some people who think, I just said that I speak pidgin on not Temisa's kind of level. Do you understand? Not the worry kind of pidgin, but I can if the situation warrants.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's not, and I speak Yoruba as well. So your mother tongue would even help acquisition of another language. It doesn't interfere at all. And then children when they're between the ages of 2, speak every language that you can speak. Good enough if maybe you're a couple and you have an intertribal marriage, and this one, maybe the husband is Yoruba and the wife is Igbo. Speak Yoruba to the children. Speak Igbo. They will understand. Okay. Yes, it doesn't affect the acquisition of English language at all.
Good. Now, you just mentioned children and parents speaking Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo to them, whatever, so that they're able to be proficient in these languages.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Now, a lot of children who, not even just children, young adults as well, they go to good schools or they go to decent schools and they speak properly because their parents have placed an emphasis. Right, exactly. But they get teased and bullied and to fit in because, you're peer pressure, you want to fit in and not be too uptight, you start speaking horribly or you start incorporating slangs into your everyday speaking. What would you tell those children and tell those parents to help their children stay on course?
You don't have to fit in.
That's easy. That's easy for us to say now.
No, it's not aspire to perspire. No, it's not. It's not aspire to perspire. Because I say, my colleagues know me. So I say something and they're like, really? So it's not interesting. It's interesting. Yes, it's interesting. Because that's how I want to speak. So there's this, should I say, automatic programming that I've put in place in my head. It's only if I don't know. If I know that it is, that OF, for instance, is of, not off. I won't say off again. The moment I know that it is not, that OF is of, not off, that's the last time I'll say off. So you have to, it's a thing of the mind. Oh, right from time I've been ashamed. Should I say shameless person? You can laugh. Laugh for all you want.
Yeah.
But as long as I know you're doing anything wrong, and you guess what? Over time, they'll join you. They will join you because the students are making jest of you. When it's time for a spelling bee competition, when it's time to represent your school in a literary and debating competition, they won't pick your friend. They'll pick you. Yeah. So
stay the course.
Exactly.
Difficult and challenging as it will be.
But then you can, because trust me, eventually when they see that you keep getting better, they'll join you.
Okay. So we talked about diction, elocution, books, and how, exactly, and how that impacts how well we speak.
Yes.
Now let's kind of go back to the issue of Nigerians speaking fast. So a lot of us in Nigeria, we speak very fast. Now there are some of us who speak fast and we want to slow down our pace. What would you tell those people? What tips would you provide to those people who want to slow down how fast they speak?
Take tongue twisters.
And tongue twisters are what, for those who may not know?
Tongue twisters are a string of words that have, most of the time they use what we call alliterations. They might use and they might not use alliteration. Alliterations are like using the same consonant, beginning with the same consonant sound. So there's this thread with tongue twisters. There's a common sound. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. So the dominant sound is p, p. Do you understand? So if you maybe have issues with the p sound, you can, with guidance, take these tongue. There are loads and loads. On Diction with Demi, we have Tongue Twister Tuesdays. So, and one of the things that tongue twisters help to do is open the vocal cords. They help to open the vocal cords. And remember I mentioned reading out loud. So you have to open your mouth. Peter, Piper, picked. So it's not necessarily about the speed. Do you understand? Because there's a goal. So Peter, Piper, picked a peck. Remember enunciation too. You want to pronounce every sound. So you can take tongue twisters and pick books and read them out loud to yourself.
Now, those are for people who speak fast and want to slow down.
Yeah.
For people like us, I include myself, who speak fast and somehow they feel like all hope is lost in maybe how they can slow down their pace. Okay. What would you tell them to ensure that you can still speak fast, but you are still communicating concisely and intentionally, particularly when it comes to enunciation and stressing those words? What would you tell those people who fall into that category of I speak fast and I keep on getting comments that I can't hear what you are saying because you are going 180 miles per hour? Obviously per second.
So I'd say, first of all, like I said, the foundation for all of my courses is that I tell my students, it's a matter of the mind. If you're open-minded, you can, anything at all can be worked on. It's not, all hope is not lost, as it were. You can be, or you can become a deliberate speaker. Remember, so in public speaking, the goal shouldn't be, or the focus shouldn't be on you as the speaker. Because you just said that sometimes you get feedback, or other people who speak fast generally get feedback that people cannot hear what it is they're saying. So if you are a speaker at a webinar or a conference and you'd feel bad at the end when you get feedback that your audience couldn't hear a word
you were saying
of what you were saying. So it's feedback. Take it. Yeah. And make your next presentation better than the previous. How?
Do you think that pauses have a role to play for people who speak really fast, like incorporating pauses?
Yes, in your head. Yes. 1, 2, 3 seconds. And being conscious about it. That's why I said being a deliberate speaker. Practice as well. Practice. Oh, I tell my students, use your folks.
Yeah.
They're your loved ones. They want you to grow. So you tell them, oh, I have a presentation, I have a press briefing, I have this pitch. Can I have 20 minutes of your time? I mean, get your siblings, get your parents in the living room and present to them. Do a role play. Let them act like your audience or like the company to which you're pitching and
presenting.
Exactly. Or you don't have anyone around you, maybe stay alone. Get your mirror.
Yeah.
It's easier these days. Get your phone. Yeah. Yes, get your phone to practice.
Even for artists that may go on Instagram Live. That's one thing, practice that first before you talk about
going live.
That's really helpful. Now, let's go on to public speaking, which you kind of just touched on.
Okay.
So public speaking, a lot of us have been called to speak publicly. Some of us are going to be called to speak publicly. And some of us, we speak publicly because that is the profession that we're in. Yes. Whether you are a government official, whether you're a broadcaster, whatever it is. Even when you're a teacher, we're talking about that sometimes people think that teachers are not speaking publicly, but they are. Of
course they are.
Okay. Now, why is it important to be a good public speaker? Because, for example, who can I use as an example? Let's say someone who is a chef says that I only work within the confines of a hotel or I work within the confines of someone's home and I'm not speaking publicly to people. So why do I need to learn how to be a good public speaker? What would your response? How would you respond to that? Okay, so basically the relationship or the connection between public speaking and our daily lives. You just gave the instance of a teacher. You communicate with about an average class in Nigeria has about, say, 30 students. For private? For private. Okay, The public, we have...
probably battalion, 60, 70, 100 in some cases. Do you understand? I mean, what could be more? You say public speaking, you have 100 people in class, and you say that's not public speaking. You have 60, you have 30. Do you understand? So teachers are another major influence, because you know how it is with children, how it is where they're like sponges. They hear their teachers say something and it sticks. You've heard how it is where parents will tell their children something and they'll be, no, my teacher said it's not this, it's not A, it is B. So that is like a fantastic example on its own already. Because you have, remember that public speaking, so maybe where we should start is, public speaking is not until you get to a TEDx, a TEDx stage, as long as you have to interact with people. Remember that I kept mentioning that it's not about you anymore, it's about your audience. You mentioned the chef. You think that your job is just within the four walls of a hotel, but you have to speak to people. I just gave an instance of the guy who, I don't know if he later got the job, but at the time I was there, he wasn't looking like he was going to get it. Do you understand? Because he was going to be communicating with foreign clients. And the organization didn't want a case where they would get feedback of, oh, we cannot hear what your staff are saying. And also that is why it is very, 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 like very, very important. It's not until these days now we've had loads and loads, or we still have, people are going on Instagram lives. We have loads and loads of Zoom meetings.
Especially for people in the exactly, especially for people in the entertainment industry now. Everything's like not that everything. The entire world is online, but particularly within the entertainment industry, we have people who are having to move their album releases online. They're having to communicate with their fans, answer questions, have live sessions, and if you're able to speak and communicate properly with your fans and with the audience, it makes a huge difference. Of course it compared to someone who is just, as they say, winging it, or just doesn't care about how to... Exactly. Now, what should public speakers do and not do? So you're speaking publicly. What should you do? I know that there are lots of things that you shouldn't do, but if you could just mention like 3 things that you should not do and do.
Okay, so 3 things that you should do. I already emphasized one. Make your audience your priority. It would even tell in the way that you prepare for your presentation. It would reflect, because you would go all the way. You would have asked yourself possible questions. Oh, what could be this? What could be this? So that when they throw those questions at you, you already have answers to them. So secondly, I'd also say prepare for your presentation. Prepare for your presentation.
Which goes back to using your family or friends.
To practice. Practice is one of it. Your presentation, whether you have to use slides or your lines, to make sure that you know what it is that you want to talk about. And in a related manner, pick a subject matter that it is you're comfortable with. Pick a subject matter that you're comfortable with. You don't have to accept every speaking engagement. If it is something that you're not knowledgeable at, you can politely decline.
And for artists, know your projects in and out. Know your team. Know the people that are behind the scenes.
Exactly. And then know your audience. Know your audience. Yes. Ask a lot of questions. Oh, what is the demography? Are they parents? Do they have children? Are they career people? Do they occupy like management? Are they C-suite in the organization? Just know them so that it would help in your preparation. You know the sort of examples to give. Are they children? So you don't talk over their heads. So you know the kind of examples to give with cartoons, Sophia the First, and all of that.
Yeah.
So all of those. Then what not to do? Do not go into your presentation without preparing. If it is very important that you prepare, and when I say prepare, especially if it's a physical event, you should get to your venue, say 30 minutes before your presentation. Walk on the stage, take a walk, and then test the mic, test your clicker. If you have to walk into the stage, if you have to like walk, did I say to the stage? Walk into the audience, yeah? No, speak to the technical team. Okay, is this mic, what is the how does it work?
Sound check, pretty much.
Does it, thank you very much. Does it allow me to walk, or should I just stay on the stage? That's number one. Number two, your appearance. You don't want to wear anything distracting. You don't want to
Unless you're an artist, though. Unless you're an artist, unless you're maybe you know what I'm trying to say. Because an artist, you can wear whatever you want. But even when you're going to pitch, you're going to partnerships with people, you have
with
to.
A brand.
Yes. Go ahead.
With, if for instance, so I think I'm more focused on the corporate.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I have these examples. So you want to pitch to a brand and all, you won't be wearing blings and all of that. You can do your research about the brand, know their brand colors. You could even, if it's blue, you could show up in a blue suit.
Yeah.
So they know that, this dude has actually done his research and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are good. Those are the things that you say don't do.
Yes.
Okay. Now, to kind of wrap up before we go on to our fun random questions, this is where you come in. For people who have all these problems with diction and elocution, whatever issues you have speaking, they can contact you and you have workshops that you do.
Yes.
Now, are these workshops open to people of a specific age, or it cuts across whatever age? For example, if it's a parent, can they bring their 8-year-old child, or are you inclusive of children, young adults, corporate people, entertainers, artists, people in the entertainment industry?
Anyone, basically, as long as you are open-minded. So I have this example. I don't have a magic wand. When I help people get rid of age factor, for instance, it's not like I have a magic powder that I give to you and I say, okay, when you swallow this,
it's going to go away.
All of your age factor will disappear. No, as long as you're willing to learn, you can become a student. Yeah, it's open to anybody at all. And
some of your classes can be tailored to individual problems that people have, right? Not just.
I have classes from time to time, diction and elocution classes. I have get rid of age factor classes. I also hold personalized classes for people who do not want the general classes. So, yeah.
Okay. And how can they get in touch with you?
You can send me an email, dictionwithdaring@gmail.com, or just follow me on social media. Diction with Daring.
Okay.
Diction with Daring. Send me a DM. Yeah.
Okay. Final question, Darren, before we go on to the fun random questions.
Okay.
What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about working with coaches to improve their speaking? Because I just talked about, someone may say, do I really need to contact Darren? I can just, because a lot of times I feel like people really think that great speakers are born as opposed to knowing that great speakers are made. This is you being intentional to say, even if you don't have a problem area, I just want to be a better speaker. So what misconceptions do you think that people have about working with a coach to be a better speaker?
So I think one major misconception is that they think that coaches are frauds. They just want to swindle them, or I can get everything online. I can Google it. I can do this. I can do that. So take my Get Rid of Age Factor course, for instance. After the theory, most of the time I have like a 2-week follow-up session with each of them. And it involves them sending me recordings that I vet, and then I say, no, it's not this, it's this. So it's actually hard work. And because I know that my reputation is at stake, I do not want, so I put in everything it is to get the desired result. So I think that it is that people think, oh, they can get it online, or that people just want to swindle them, basically. Yeah, okay. Which is not true.
Which is not true. And I think that this is it's not like a great time, but this downtime that we have in the world and the economy, I think that this is a great time for people to pay attention to problem areas that they have, and improve them.
Yes, and better position them.
Better position yourself for the
opportunities that you're eyeing, that you want.
So if you're an artist and you struggle with communicating with people or communicating with your fans or whomever, whether it's a brand, people say, oh, it seems like you're not really up to date on what you should be doing. This is the time for you to hone those skills, so that when those opportunities present themselves, you're ready to go, as opposed to trying to rush when I say, oh, Derry, come and work.
Or you always get someone to represent you.
Yes, or
when you can actually
or foreign news station contacts you, and you're not ready to go because you can't communicate properly. Okay, now let's go on
the opportunities that we're talking about.
Now let's go on to the fun random questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, my first question is: which of the following makes you cringe the most?
Okay.
The options are: my names are pizza or oil.
Hey, God. So I think my names are, and I'm like, you bear all of these names. You cannot identify with all of these names. So my name is Aderinsola Adeyemi. Not, my names are.
My names are. Can I just say, I read this question to my mom. I told her which one. She said that, but the record, oil is right. She said oil. It's not oil. It's oil. You're moving to America. So she's like, she told Jerry that it's oil. Please, don't pick oil. All right. Second question is, what are 2 informal words or phrases that you are trying to get rid of from your vocabulary? 2 informal words or phrases. Or we can even just say maybe 2 slangs that it's like a pain point for you. Like you just want to get rid of them.
I'd say not exactly slangs. Remember I said that there's a programming in my head.
Yes.
Yes, which over time I've worked on. And for the records, there was a time, you know how Facebook reminds you of
5 years ago.
Oh my God, you just go on Facebook and you're like, 7 years ago, I used to abbreviate. And now I'm an evangelist. Oh no, you must write in full. Yeah. You must write in full because you're sending that mail to your MD or to your chairman and your, what is the most common? See, I don't even have those examples anymore. But there was a point in my life where I used to abbreviate, but not anymore. So for now, I'd say, and I'm consciously working on it, not necessarily slangs, feelers. Feelers.
We need to talk about that.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
How can we get rid of those
Just being conscious. So when you're trying to get rid of something, it doesn't mean that it won't
still be there.
Do you understand? It doesn't mean that it won't sneak in a number of times. It's just, oh, I said it. It's fine. I'll be more conscious next time.
And if someone wants to work with you on that, you can also help them with that as well.
Exactly.
Great. Before I go into my third question, is this right? And also, because and also, aren't they the same?
Yes. Conjunction.
Yeah. Yes. So why do a lot of us, because I notice even for myself, I sometimes hear myself say and also, but I'm like, and is it's
a connector.
Yeah. It's what I don't know. So stop saying and also. Oh, and the other one is, what about and all that? I'm sorry, that drives me crazy. I don't know what it came from in Nigeria, but I know that a lot of times people, when they're saying completing the sentence and they end with and all that. What does that mean? Can't they say and so on?
And so on, etc.
Yeah.
Basically.
So I don't know that and all that. It's just because it's like every egg. Okay. Third question.
It's because you know.
Yeah, I mean, I use and also, and I'm like, I need to stop using that. But that and all that, it's. I feel like it's problematic because you hear a lot of people speak, and all that just permeates every aspect of these. I'm like, why are you saying that? Don't say and so on. Just say so on. Okay. Third question. Fill in the blank with the artist of your choice.
Okay.
This week, I listened to music from dash artist the most.
This week. So I didn't do a lot of music this week. I don't even know.
What about the week before?
The week before, Maverick City.
Oh, are they? What are they from?
The US.
Okay.
It's a gospel band.
Okay.
Yeah. So I listened to Promises. Yes, Maverick City.
Okay, great. Fourth question. I hope you really know this last person I'm going to mention. Okay. You are a communication strategist.
Okay.
Of these 3 female TV characters, who would you choose to work with? The options are Olivia Pope, Jessica Pearson, or Mary Jane. You know Mary Jane, right?
No, I don't.
I was about to say. So Gabrielle Union had this show called Being Mary Jane. She was a broadcaster, and that was the character.
Being Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Is it a series?
Yeah, it was a series, but I think it's ended. No, I think it has ended.
I heard.
It was on BET.
Okay, I think I heard. So I don't know any of these people.
Oh, Olivia Pope Scandal. You know the TV show Scandal?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. All right, it's fine. No worries. We'll skip those. Okay. Final question. Okay. What are 2 things that you'd love to do once social distancing ends?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. As introverted as I am, I'm looking forward to resumption at the office. I want to see my
people.
colleagues. Yes, I want to see people. And then another thing I'm looking forward to doing is hanging out with my friends, like outdoor. I tell you, most of my weekends I'm at home, but right now I think this has taught me to be even more open to hanging out. I cannot wait to hang out with my friends.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's one of the downsides of the coronavirus and social distancing is that even for people who are introverted, like you said, you just realize that you miss being around people, right? Miss getting your nails done, miss playing with children. Well, thank you so much for your time, Derry.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you to our listeners as well.
It didn't even feel like it felt like we were just.
I told you. See, do you see? So am I right?
Yes, you are.
I told you.
I actually felt like we were just recording.
Yes, exactly. And thank you to our listeners as well. If you want to follow Derry, you can follow her on Instagram at Diction with Derry. So that's DICTION WITHDERIN, Diction with Derry. Yes. Before I go, what word do you find challenging to spell? You don't have it?
None at the moment. Maybe because I haven't come across any difficult word, but I think I can try.
Yeah. Okay. So you can follow her on Instagram with Diction with Derry. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friend, or you can share it on social media and tag us. We'll definitely interact with that. Derry, any last words about public speaking, diction, elocution?
Do everything you can to put your best foot forward every time you get the opportunity. Diction and elocution is one thing that can position you for those opportunities that you want to get.
That's really good advice. Let's all continue to stay safe and listen to and make sure that we incorporate Derry's advice into our lives. Bye, everyone.